Finding your voice under pressure isn't about being fearless. It's about learning how to anchor yourself.
You're not here for the same old, same old. You're not here for just tips. You're here because something in you knows it's time to change. Not just how you lead, but how you live. I'm Janet Ioli, and this is The Inner Edge, a podcast about leadership, self-mastery, resilience, and reinvention for a new world era. Real life, whole self. Let's go there. Welcome to The Inner Edge.
Welcome back to The Inner Edge. Last week, we talked about communicating clearly and being able to articulate your ideas and how important that is. And some of you brought to my attention, which I totally agree, is that most people can communicate clearly and articulate clearly when things are calm. The real test comes when the stakes are high, when emotions are involved, when conflict is present, or when the conversation actually matters. And so to follow up on that episode, since so many of you wrote to me and said, hey, can you talk a little bit more about communicating clearly under pressure? Today's episode is about what happens to your voice under pressure and how to stay grounded, clear, and intentional when it's easier to shut down, ramble, or react. This is not, and again, we talked about this last week, but this is not just a leadership skill. This is a life skill. And so I really believe leadership is also self-leadership and how you're leading yourself every day. And all of this is totally relevant. What we know is that when pressure rises, your nervous system takes over. Blood moves away from your thinking brain and it starts thinking about survival. That's why your words disappear, your thoughts tangle, and even your voice changes. This isn't weakness. It's not you. It's our biology. It's human biology. So under pressure, what starts to happen is because these biological changes are happening to our head and they're happening to us, we tend to overexplain, speak too fast, and I know many of you have seen this or do this, get defensive, freeze or go silent, and the most notorious one is say things we regret. Clarity under pressure requires self-management, not better vocabulary. So it really is learning how to manage ourselves under these times of emotional dysregulation. And what is your anchor? Your presence. When you can regulate your body, you regain access to your thinking and your voice returns. Clear communication under pressure begins before the conversation even starts. And what does that mean? Preparation is power. If a conversation matters, prepare. Ask yourself, first of all, and we talked about this in the last episode, what is my point? So you got to know your point. Why are you there? What is the point you're trying to get across? What emotion might get activated in this conversation? What matters most in this conversation? So is it the relationship or is it getting your point across? What outcome am I hoping for? So really getting clear about those sentences really will help you bring down the emotional tension because you've prepared in advance. Preparation reduces reaction. One of the most underrated communication tools is silence. And so being able to pause in the middle of a difficult conversation or a difficult interaction slows the nervous system. It signals confidence that you're not losing control. It gives your words weight. And it prevents over-communication because when you're pausing, you're thinking through what you're about to say. You don't owe anyone immediate answers. So if somebody comes at you with something, you can stop. You can be silent in the moment and collect your thoughts. You don't have to just react and say something back. So how do you stay clear in the moment, in that moment when that clarity is going out the window and you just want to attack someone back or your defenses are coming up? When this pressure hits you, slow your breath. Deliberate breaths, because that slows your nervous system. I mean, there's a reason why people say just breathe. There's a reason why that's on my sign behind me when I'm talking to clients. I have a sign that says breathe, because when you slow your breath, your nervous system regulates. Ground your feet. So if you're sitting, put your feet on the floor, because again, that's grounding your body, and it's your body that's having the reaction. When you're speaking, speak one thought at a time. Don't let all of these things rush into your head. One thought at a time. And if needed, you can actually name what you need. Let me pause and take a moment. You can say that out loud. It's actually has a lot more impact if you just start rambling and saying whatever comes to your mind. Let me take a moment. I just need to think for a moment. And that's fine. Clarity isn't speed. It's maintaining your presence. You can be clear and you can be kind at the same time. So when your emotions are high, use some of these phrases, and these can be very helpful. For example, what matters most to me is, here's what I want to be clear about. Okay, I'm just going to say this simply. These phrases, okay, and let me say them again because they're very powerful. What matters most to me here is, so that could be what matters most to me is our relationship. What matters most to me is that we get this settled. Whatever it is that matters most, state it out loud without emotion, just stating it. Here's what I want to be clear about. What is that? And let's say this simply. Let me say this simply. These phrases orient you and they actually honor you because you're able to slow down and not react. Finally, instead of replaying what you said, ask yourself these questions after the interaction so that you prepare for next time. Did I honor myself? Did I honor the other person? Did I stay aligned with what was important? Did I speak from intention or did I just react defensively? Growth comes from this reflection afterwards. And I know many of us will say, well, afterwards I regret what I said or I think about it, but in the moment I get really heated and I can't help myself. Well, you can help yourself. It's just practicing this, practicing the pause, practicing the asking yourself these questions, practicing the preparation, and then reflecting on it, but in a useful way, asking yourself whether you kept those promises to yourself rather than just ruminating about what happened. Oh, I was so stupid. Why did I say this, etc. Finding your voice under pressure isn't about being fearless. It's about learning how to anchor yourself. When you can stay present in moments that matter, your voice becomes steady, your message lands, and your self-trust deepens. What's really funny is over the years, I've been practicing this, and people that I work with and people that are my clients or even colleagues will say, Janet, you're so calm, that you have a calming presence. And really, I feel calm. And the reason I feel calm, even in moments of pressure, is because I practice these things. It's the regulating the nervous system because I, like all of us, I can go, from 1 to 100 very quickly. And what I've learned is to pause that and to hold that space. And it really does become a calming presence to yourself and to others. The capacity to speak clearly, even when it's hard, is a leadership skill and it's a self-leadership skill. And I believe it's a profound part of the inner edge.